Greetings, you guys. Welcome back to Unshakable with April Chapman. Today, oh Lord, okay, we have another update with the Nolan Wells case and situation. I'm going to try not to make this video too long because it's simply an update, and I promise you by the time I finish editing this video and getting it out, something new would have transpired, and then this video will be old. So, the cell phone. The cell phone has been a very important point of contention lately because it has now come out that the state has not had an opportunity to forensically examine Nolan Wells's cell phone. Well, the reason why that is because it was discovered that Christine Wells, Nolan Wells's mother, had not turned over the phone. Now, I thought this was interesting because if y'all can remember, it was Ben Crump and Al Sharpton who really, they are the ones, and the mama, who made Nolan's cell phone such a point of contention. It was heightened suspicion around this phone because of statements that all of these individuals made. They are the ones that told us, oh, the phone was wiped clean. Things were deleted. Like we couldn't see nothing. Why? Like, we want to get to the bottom of this. Like, all of the, like, that came from Ben Crump and company. Well, now, thanks to the reporting and investigative work of Sarah Fields, shout out to you, Sarah. Sarah has basically reported that after she exposed that Nolan's phone had never been surrendered to authorities, that now the lawyer, a new lawyer, a local Mississippi lawyer on behalf of the Nolan Wells family, has suddenly sent a letter saying that they're ready and willing to have it examined. Okay.
Flag on the plate.
I'm sorry. It's only almost a month later. Like, actually, it's over a month. Like, July 4th was over a month ago. Like, we're heading into mid-September now. This weekend, it'll be the middle. We're heading into mid-August now. This weekend will be the middle of August. So, can somebody riddle me this, Batman? Why is it now, after all this time, now that the information has come out that Nolan's phone was never surrendered to the state for a forensic examination, then now all of a sudden their legal counsel wants to send a letter saying, well, we're ready and willing to surrender it. Isn't it a little late for that? So let me show y'all. I want to show y'all this letter. So this is the letter that A.R. Smith Law, Integrity, Commitment, Excellence. Anyway, this is Angel Myers McIlrath, Office of the District Attorney, 19th Circuit District. So this is the letter from the newly retained counsel or local counsel with the Nolan Wells case, sending it to the DA. And it says, please be advised that A.R. Smith Law, PLLC, has been retained to serve as local counsel for the estate and family of Nolan Wells. Moving forward, I will be working alongside the legal team at Ben Crump Law in representing our clients and addressing matters arising from the Wells' death. As the legal team has previously stated, including during our in-person meeting with the Wells family and counsel, we have been and remain ready and willing to cooperate in arranging a joint forensic inspection of Nolan Wells' personal cell phone. During that meeting, we specifically discussed having the examination conducted through the Digital Forensics Lab at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, as well as the possibility of FBI involvement in that process. Our position has not changed. We are prepared to coordinate a mutually agreeable date and procedure for the examination of the phone. Accordingly, to the extent there has been any suggestion that we have been unwilling or have failed to cooperate with the investigation, we want to make clear that this is not the case. Okay, here's the problem with this letter. First of all, it's a month and a half too late. And it raises a suspicion in the minds of the public because why have they been holding Nolan's phone hostage this long? And why are they deciding to send a letter now. If you wanted to get to the bottom of the truth, if you really believed as a deeply held presupposition that Nolan's phone had been tampered with and that people deleted stuff and wiped his phone clean, why is not one of the first things you would have done before you laid your son to rest, which was, we want to hand this phone over to the authorities. We want to submit this phone to a full and thorough forensic investigation. Why now? So here's what Sarah says. She goes, the timing of this is interesting. She said, read the letter carefully because it does not say that Nolan's phone was previously surrendered to law enforcement. It does not say that investigators have had possession of it. It does not say law enforcement has already completed a forensic examination. Instead, more than 30 days after Nolan's death, they write, quote, we are prepared to coordinate a mutually agreeable date and procedure for the examination of the phone, end quote. In other words, they are still talking about arranging the examination. And this is where the whole thing becomes absolutely absurd, Sarah says. The Wells family previously had a different law firm sending preservation/spoliation letters to other people, putting them on notice to preserve potential evidence. Attorneys representing the family were sophisticated enough to demand that everyone else preserve evidence while Nolan's own cell phone, the very cell phone that Ben Crump and the family publicly made an issue from almost the beginning, apparently remained outside the possession of law enforcement. Here's the kicker. Here's the kicker that Sarah says. Do not forget, Crump and the family helped make Nolan's cell phone part of the public suspicion surrounding his death. The public heard allegations and suspicions about supposedly missing or deleted material. Experts were discussed. Forensic examinations were discussed. Investigations were discussed. Crump made it sound from the beginning as though they were actively going through this phone and getting to the bottom of what supposedly happened to its contents. Well, what apparently wasn't being prominently disclosed to the public was a pretty enormous detail. The actual cell phone had not even been surrendered to the authorities investigating Nolan's death. Is anybody going to answer to me why this family's been holding this phone hostage, but they are the ones that created this whole cloud of suspicion and odor of mendacity around the phone to begin with? So why are you sending this letter now? I remember those spoliation and preservation letters that were sent out saying, we're just putting you on notice. We're going to want your phone and you need to make sure you don't delete anything. And we're just letting you know that we're coming for those phones. How you going to send a letter to all of Nolan's friends and all of the other suspects that you alleged were suspects? How are you going to demand that they preserve evidence and submit to whatever investigative inquiry that you initiate, and you ain't even done the basics and gave Nolan's phone over to the local authorities to be investigated? Like, pot, meat kettle. Look, y'all gonna get mad when I say this, but it's not gonna make me stop saying it. I told y'all. These blacks ain't honest. They are not honest. The moment they hitched their civil rights wagon to Ben Crump and Al Sharpton, told me everything that I needed to know. These people, do y'all remember the show that I did about Crump's, the Marxist tactics, his cloud of suspicion? Let me see if I can put it up. I did a show, here we go, called The Crump Conflict Cycle, where you select a grievance, name a target, polarize the public, apply media pressure, create civil leverage. The reason why I created this graphic and I did this show was to demonstrate to you that Crump has a pattern. He has a strategy. It's very similar to the Saul Alinsky strategy of creating unrest where none exists for the sole purposes of exploitation and to weaken the organism from within. The moment this family hitched their wagon to Ben Crump and Al Sharpton, it told me everything I needed to know. It said, okay, these people will participate in all kinds of underhanded Weasley type tactics in order to manipulate and curate an alternate narrative and to move you away from truth and to move you towards something else. There's always an alternative desired end other than actual biblical justice. You can't convince me that if this family was truly interested in knowing what happened to Nolan Wells, that submitting his phone to basic forensic investigation would not have been one of the first things on their agenda. And they wouldn't hold a standard to everybody else that they wouldn't themselves hold themselves to, which is you need to submit your phone for preservation and spoliation of evidence. Yet we've had this phone in our possession for God knows how long. And now we're going to send a letter to save face to let people know, oh, well, whenever y'all want to do it, we're ready to do it. This does not instill confidence. What this is we were called out. Egg is on our face. So now we have to save face and put this letter out there to try to smooth over the fact that this is making us look really sus.
Why did the founding fathers in America have slaves? Why did black men allow themselves to be slaves? That's my question. Now why? Don't I pick cotton for the white man, but my great-great-grandfather did. You know what? It's simple. I refuse. And if you try to make me, I'm gonna bust a cap in your head. Black people begging to be included in places where they will not want it. It is unchristian, it is unmanly. The Christian man never be anywhere where he's not wanted, or anywhere where he's merely tolerated. Any place that makes him feel small. If I'm not invited, I don't want to be there. And this is what you get from it: ridicule and pity.
And I'm scared. Scared.
Never me. As I've said before, there are two types of men. One that says that I will accept slavery before death, and the other one that says I'll accept death before slavery. You had a choice. Kill him or die. That's the choice. Always. Kill him or die. Slaves is a choice.
Here's the question that Sarah Fields would like answered. She goes, if your position never changed, why are we more than 30 days past Nolan's death and still talking about arranging a mutually agreeable date and procedure to examine the phone? Why wasn't the phone simply surrendered weeks ago? And if preserving evidence was so critically important that attorneys for this family were sending spoliation letters to everyone else, why wasn't Nolan's cell phone, the same phone being used publicly to fuel questions about supposedly deleted evidence, immediately placed in the hands of investigators? You wanted everyone else to preserve their evidence, and you sent legal letters making sure they knew it. Meanwhile, what happened with Nolan's phone? The phone that helped fuel more than a month of suspicion, accusations, and conspiracy theories deserves the same standard of transparency they demanded from everyone else. More than 30 days later, we're prepared to coordinate isn't an explanation. Sarah says it begs for one. These people think we're stupid. Sarah, I done told you. Girl, you a white woman on a mission. I get it. I understand your frustration. I know these blacks have worn you out. And when I say that, I know, y'all are not used to a black woman like me functioning in her freedom and not worrying or caring about what anyone thinks. I can speak and all of these colloquialisms and matters of race and ethnicity so freely because I'm free in Jesus. So when I talk about Sarah being a white woman frustrated with the blacks, it's a statement of fact. She is a white woman, and she's absolutely frustrated with a certain low IQ subculture of blacks that keep playing in America's face, trying to divide this country, and thinking that they're going to exploit the death of young black men for selfish gain and do it at the expense of innocent white folks who are like, we didn't do nothing to nobody. We were just minding our business, right? We're trying to heal and ameliorate race relations in this country. And every time we believe that we're getting one step ahead, here come the race grievance crowd and the race hustlers and the cultural Marxists and the communists, if we're gonna be honest, sowing more division and discord. They don't want America to be one nation under God, indivisible, because these people hate God and they hate this nation and they want us to be divided. And so, yes, I'm a black woman, authentically black. Okay. You can't touch or try to remove or take away any of my bona fides. Okay. I love this country. I want the healing of this nation as much as it depends on us. And I will absolutely call out these race hustling lion grifters because they're of their father, the devil. We're not the same just because we share the same ethnic reflection. Ben Crump and Al Sharpton are the scumbags of the black community, and they should be exposed, and they should be people need to know about what they've been doing for the past few decades so that they don't fall for the okie doke again. And if that means I have to stand beside Sarah Fields in all of her white woman gloriousness, I'm going to do that because it's okay. She's an image bearer. I'm an image bearer made in the image of God. We both love this country and we both love the truth. And truth doesn't have a color or a label on it. It's objective and it is knowable and it dwells in unapproachable life because Jesus is the truth. He's the way, the truth, and the light. No one comes to the Father except through him. So when we see tactics that are eerily similar to the tactics that the serpent in the garden was trying to pull the wool over Eve's eyes, and the God of this world, how he's always come to steal, kill, and destroy, we're going to expose the unfruitful deeds of darkness. That's what we're going to do. And I will stand in solidarity with anybody of any ethnicity any day if it means we're going to do that. So I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? Can you believe Pat Meat Kettle? They've been sitting on this phone for well over 30 days, sending out letters demanding everybody preserve evidence and, you don't need to delete nothing off your phone. And yet the same phone that's been the object of the cloud of suspicion this whole time, they're still talking about we're willing and ready, to submit and coordinate a mutually acceptable time for everybody. Like, y'all so dishonest. If y'all don't cut this mess out, look, why don't y'all just shut this mess down already? Like, because Sarah's not going to let this go until the truth comes out. And y'all keep digging a deeper hole for yourself. Why don't the mama just come out and say, we got hoodwinked, we've been run amok, Ben Crump beguiled me. And the father needs to be like, it's that woman you gave me, she listened to the serpent. And Ben Crump and Al Sharpton, they the serpent. Like, y'all can really spin this and turn the whole tide of this whole case. Shut this foolishness down so that it's not a back and forth. Because I'm telling you, you're not going to win. Sarah is exposing you and beating the brakes off of y'all. She really is. And y'all are looking more suspect. Why? Because you were dealing with suspect individuals from the beginning who are not interested in getting to the truth, but they wanted to raise money at your dead son's expense. And we're here now. So I'm curious to know what you guys think. Leave me your thoughts down in the comments below. And until next time, you guys, stand firm, stay bold, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and